You know, like you tell us guru, that bit. Probably after acid. You know, well, I don't know, rubber soul. I can't quite remember. You know, I can't remember it exactly happening. You know, we just took that position. You know? I mean, we started putting out messages. You know, I like the word, and the word is love and things like that. And I like messages. You know, I mean.
Oh, Strawberry Fields, then.
That's later on. This is earlier on. You see. See, when you start putting out messages, people start coming asking you, what's the message? You know?
How did you first get involved in LSD?
A dentist in London laid it on George, me, and our wives without telling us at a dinner party at his house. He was a friend of George's and our dentist at the time. And he just put it in our coffee or something, you know. And we went, he was saying, I advise you not to. He didn't know what it was. There was just a sort of, you know, it's all the thing, you know, with the sort of the middle class London swingers or whatever. I hadn't all heard about it, and they didn't know it was different from pot or pills. And they gave us it, and he was saying, I advise you not to leave. And we thought he was all trying to keep us for an orgy in his house, and we didn't want to know, you know. And we went out to the ad lib and these discotheques, and it was incredible things going on. And that's how it happened.
That was around this table, and then...
No, I mean, this was a dinner, and we got out and went, and this guy came with us. He was nervous. He didn't know what we were going crackers, you know. I mean, it was insane going around London on it, and we thought when we went to the club, we thought it was on fire, and then we thought it was a premiere. Oh, no, we thought it was a premiere. It was just an ordinary light outside. We thought, shit, what's going on here, you know? And we were cackling in the street, and then, you know, people were shouting, let's break a window. You know, we were just insane. I mean, we just out of our heads, and people would come up to me. We finally got in the lift, and we all thought there was a fire in the lift. It was just a little red light, and we were all screaming like that, and it was all hysterical. And we all arrived on the floor, because this was a discotheque that was up a building, you know. And the lift stops, and the door opens, and we all go, ah! And we just see that it's the club, and then we walk in, you know, sit down, and it's like that. You know, and the tables elongating. I think we went to eat before that, and it was like in a thing I'd read about opium, where the table I suddenly realised that it was only a table like this with four of us around, but it went this long. Just like I'd read Blake, is it? Somebody describing the effects of the opium in the old days. And I thought, fucking, it's happening, you know. And then we went to the ad lib and all that. And then some singer came up to me and said, can I sit next to you? And I was going, only if you don't talk! You know, like, because I just couldn't think.
When you came down, what did you think?
I was pretty stunned, you know, for a month or two.
Well, where did you go after that?
Well, it seemed to go on all night. I can't remember the details. It just went on like that. And then George, somehow or another, managed to drive us home in his Mini, but we were going about 10 miles an hour. It seemed like 1,000. And Hattie was saying, let's jump out and play football. You know, there's these big rugby posts and things like that. And I was getting all this sort of hysterical jokes coming out, like a speed, because I was always on that too. You know, and George was going, don't me off! And, you know, God, it was just terrifying. You know? But it was fantastic. I did some drawings at the time. I've got them somewhere. Like, you know, 4 faces saying, we all agree with you, you know, and all things like that. I gave them to Ringo, lost the originals. I did a lot of drawing that night. It's like that. And then George's house seemed to be, you know, just like a big submarine. I was driving it. They all went to bed. I was carrying on my own. It seemed to float above his wall, which was 18 foot. You know, I was right driving them. And the second time we had it in LA, which is different. Well, then we took it deliberately.
To backtrack, so
yeah.
after everybody slept.
Oh, I don't remember. You know, it was just.
Everybody got up. And
then later, I can't remember. You know, we were all just a bit down. You know, I think, wow. You know, I don't remember that kind of thing. I only remember the highlights. You know, and then we just decided to take it again in California. Yeah. We were on tour in one of those houses, like, you know, Doris Day's house or whatever it was we used to stay. And the three of us took it, Ringo, George and I think maybe Neil, and a couple of the Birds, you know, that, what's his name? The one in the Steels and Nash thing. You know the Birds? Yeah, BYRD? Crosby and the other guy who used to be the leader. McGuinn. I think they came around, I'm not sure, on a few trips. They like that. But there was some English reporters that was like Don Short and we were in the garden, had it. It was only the second one. We still didn't know anything about do it in a nice place and cool it and all that. We just took it, And then we suddenly saw the reporter, and we're thinking, how do we act normally? Because we imagined we were acting extraordinary, which we weren't. He thought, surely somebody can see, And we're terrified, waiting for him to go. And he wondered why he couldn't come over. And Neil, who had never had it either, had taken it, and he still had to play road manager. We said, go and get rid of Don Short. And he didn't know what to do. He just sort of sat with it. And Peter Fonda came, and that was another thing. And he kept on saying, I know what it's like to be dead. And we said, what? And he kept saying it, We were saying, for Christ's sake, shut up, we don't care. We don't want to know. And he kept going on about it. And that's how I wrote She Said, She Said. I know what it's like to be dead.
What else entered into that song?
She Said, She Said.
Yeah.
I know what it. Well, it was a sad song, That was just an acidy song, I suppose. And when I was a little boy, you see, a lot of early childhood was coming out anyway.
So how long did LSD go on?
It went on for years. I must have had 1,000 trips,
Literally 1,000?
Oh yeah.
100, couple hundred?
No, lots, I used to just eat it all the time.
Through what else?
I don't know. I never took it in the studio. Once I did accidentally. I thought it was taking some uppers. And I was not in a state of handling it, And I can't remember what album it was, but I took it, and then I just noticed I suddenly got so scared on the mic, I said, what was it? I said, I feel ill. I thought I felt ill, and it was going. I thought it was going crack, And then I said, I must get some air, and they all took me upstairs on the roof, and George Martin was looking at me funny, And then it dawned on me, I must have taken acid. And I said, well, I can't go, I'll have to go. So I just said, you'll have to do it, and I'll just stay and watch. And I was just, very nervous and just watching them all, saying, is it all right? And they were saying, yeah, all being very kind. And I said, yes, it's all right. And I was saying, are you sure it's all right? And I said, all right, and they carried on making the record.
The other Beatles didn't get into LSD as much as you did.
George's video in LA, Paul felt very out of it because we were all a bit slightly cruel, So we're taking it in your night. Well, we kept seeing him, and we'd be going up and saying, and we couldn't eat our food, I just couldn't manage it. We'd be picking it up with the hands, and we're fucking there's all these people sort of serving us in the house and that, and we're just sort of knocking on the floor and then like that. And it was a long time before Paul took it, and then there was the big announcement. So I don't know. I think George is pretty heavy. We're probably both the most cracked, I think Paul's a bit more stable than George and I. I don't know about straight, stable. I think LSD profoundly shocked him.
What did you ever start getting into bad trips?
Oh yeah, I had many. Jesus Christ. I stopped taking it because of that. I just couldn't stand it. And yeah, it got like that. But then I dropped it for I don't know how long. Then I started taking it just before I met Yoko again. Derek came over, and see, I got a message on acid that used to destroy your ego, and I did. I was reading that stupid book of Leary's and all that shit. We're going through a whole game that everybody went through, and I destroyed myself. And I was slowly putting myself together after Maharishi and that, bit by bit over a 2-year period. And then I destroyed my ego, and I didn't believe I could do anything, and I let Paul do what he wanted and say, them all just do what they wanted, I just was nothing, I was shit, And then Derek tripped me out at his house after he got back from LA. He said, it's all, it's all, and he sort of said, you're all right, and he pointed out which songs I'd written, and, he said, you wrote this, and you said this, and you are intelligent, don't be frightened, And then next week, I went down with Yoko, and we tripped out again, and she filled me completely to realise that I was me, and it's all right, And that was it. And I started fighting again, and being a loudmouth again, and saying, well, I can do this, and fuck you, and this is what I want. I want it, and don't put me down, I did this. So that's where I am now.
There's some of that.